Amano was an otaku who prefers staying home playing games for gooners than touch grass. However, when the most popular girl in school discovers that he loves the same cultured games as her, she becomes obsessed with him and will do anything to become the protagonist of his goonings. But before this, one fine day when Amano, a high school loser who has no friends, is happily buying games at a video store, suddenly a girl calls out his name which startles him. Amano becomes extremely nervous because this is the first time any girl has stood so near to him. The girl introduces herself as Tendu, but Amano on the other hand starts getting lost in his own thoughts. It is revealed that Tendu is incredibly popular at their school. She's considered the idol of the entire school because she's cute, excels in academics, sports, everything else, and even has a dedicated group of fans. Then Tendo suggests they pick up the games he dropped. As they start collecting them, Amano tries to stop her, but Tendo picks up a game and reads the details on the back cover. The game is called Golden Memories and is tailor-made dating sim for single creeps where players can interact with various girls. Tendo reads all of this and naturally blushes while Amano is mortified. He quickly explains that he was only checking the back cover to see what kind of game it was. Amano starts yapping non-stop about the game to cover his embarrassment, but then worries that Tendo might think he is slightly unhinged. To his surprise, Tendo says she loves gaming too, and found his rant fun. She then asks if Amano would like to join her at the game club. Amano is shocked to hear that there is a game club in their school, and gets intrigued to know more. Elsewhere at a gaming arcade, another student from the same school, Uhara, is absorbed in playing games. His girlfriend Aguri soon arrives near his chair and asks him to come with her. Meanwhile, Amano is in the park along with his new buddy Tendu. She reveals that she has been extremely busy lately, and Amano adds that it is normal for a hottie like her to be busy. Tendu explains that her teachers and parents are supportive of her gaming hobby. She once stayed up for 2 days straight like a junkie while trying to set a speedrun record for a game. Amano is surprised to learn how passionate she is about gaming. Tendu reveals that she joined this high school because of its renowned game club, but it was shut down before she enrolled. She's determined to revive it and asks if Amano will help her. Before he can respond, Tendu gets a call from her mother and says she has to go home, promising to wait for his answer. The next day in the classroom, Amano gets another notification, which turns out to be a new game invitation from his online friend Mono. As he checks his phone, Tendo suddenly appears behind him and startles him. She apologizes for being late and asks what he's doing. Amano replies that he was playing a game to pass the time. He notices Tendo is standing very close, which makes him nervous as their classmates start wondering how this loser got so close to the hottie. To deflect attention, he suggests they head to the game club. At the club, Amano meets a boy who greets them courteously. Tendo introduces him as Masumi and says he is great at puzzle games. Masumi downplays his skills like a true pro gamer, but Tendo insists he's talented. Amano suddenly realizes that he is not unique or special because Tendo seems to have invited other people to this gaming club too. Then they enter the game club room, which is dark and filled with gaming equipment. Tendo turns on the light and introduces two more members, Kase, who excels at first-person shooting games, and a girl named Oiso, who's skilled at arcade games. Amano and Masumi are amazed at how many losers can be gathered in one place. Meanwhile, Kase is playing a game with perfect precision, and Tendo explains that the club's equipment was bought with tournament winnings. Following this, the entire group starts playing a FPO, but Amano performs poorly and loses every round. After 10 rounds, Kase suggests they stop for the day because he can't watch Amano bombing any longer. He then asks if Masumi has played FPOs before, and the latter admits he's only played casually. Case is impressed, noting that Masumi managed to hit him 3 times by mimicking his moves. On the other hand, Case trashes Amano for standing near a wall in the game like a noob who has no idea what he is doing. Amano explains he was curious about what was beyond the wall. Sensing the tension rise, Tendo suggests they take a break, and she heads outside with Amano and Masumi. After chatting for a while, Masumi agrees to join the club and says he had a lot of fun, but Amano hesitates as he feels the club's competitive approach doesn't match his casual gaming style. Later, Amano sits alone in his classroom and regrets his refusal to join. He receives another game invitation but is interrupted by Tendo, who encourages him to reconsider his decision. She says it's okay if he doesn't feel like a serious gamer like them, as everyone has their strengths. Their classmates notice their interaction, and Amano nervously reaches for Tendo's hand but quickly types on his phone instead, saying he almost missed a game match. Tendo then sarcastically thanks him for being there. Amano admits he likes everyone in the club, but feels they view gaming differently. He tells Tendo he can't join the club, and the poor girl starts crying. She says she enjoys spending time with him despite his lack of skill. She warns that if he keeps pushing her away, she'll keep coming back because she cares about him. As she leaves, she slips on a banana peel, falls and runs off in embarrassment while hiding her face. On the other hand, Amano is left confused, wondering what just happened. Shortly afterwards, Ukara arrives in the class and wonders if a virgin like Amano really rejected Tendo's invitation to join the game club. The entire class is shocked that Tendo actually even talked to Amano. He soon reaches the arcade and starts playing a game but notices the reflection of his older, less cooler, and more clumsy self looking at him. This causes him to lose, and he remembers how everyone used to laugh at him while he sat alone. This motivates Ukara, and he wins the next round in the claw machine, while still wondering when his streak of flashbacks will end. Just then, he spots Amano looking at him from nearby like he is some sort of a circus animal. Amano quickly approaches him and introduces himself by saying that they are in the same class. Amano also notices the game Uhara won as a prize in the claw machine. He gets so excited that he starts rambling enthusiastically about the game. Uhara finds his behavior a little odd, but admits he loves games too. As Amano leaves, Ukahara quietly follows and sees him at the arcade. Amano is not actually playing, but simply watching each gaming machine like they are some museum pieces. Ukahara wonders why someone who loves games so much would leave the arcade like that. Moments later, Ukarada catches up to Amano and asks if he wants to play games together. Amano is thrilled that someone actually wants to play with him and immediately agrees. Ukarada asks if it's Amano's first time at the arcade. Amano says he's been there a few times but usually leaves after watching others play, as there is always someone using the machines. Ukarada is surprised that someone with this level of common sense can even exist in society. Ukarada then asks about his relationship with Tendo, but Amano struggles to explain it. Nonetheless, Ukarada and Amano play an online game at the arcade. They play intently, with Amano panicking like a try-hard sweat, but Ukarada stays extremely calm. Ukarada finds Amano's moves predictable, thinking even his girlfriend, who simply mashes buttons, plays better than him. Ukarada then easily defeats Amano, who is stunned and praises Ukarada's skill. He downplays it but doesn't hesitate to say Amano is the worst player he's faced. Later they enjoy soft drinks at the arcade's food court. Amano, still eager, wants to play more, and Ukahara recognizes the same passion he once saw in a girl. Right then, he notices Tendo watching them from a distance. An embarrassed Tendo quickly says hello and immediately bolts away from the spot. Meanwhile, Amano also says he has other things to do and starts to leave. Ukarada wonders what's wrong with him, and how could his mood change so quickly. While on his way out, Amano is stopped by Tendo, but Amano channels his inner Sigma male, ignores her, and walks away. After a while, Uhara catches up to Amano, who is surprised to see him. Uhara asks why Amano left earlier without saying a word. Amano, however, goes on a tangent and simply replies that Uhara has a cool life. Uhara misunderstands the situation and thinks that Amano is judging him and gets angry. He grabs Amano's collar and says that he once used to be a loser nerd as Amano, but over the time, he forced himself to live a certain way. He accuses Amano of judging him and even mentions Tendo's persistence in getting him to join the game club. Uhara says Amano refuses to join because he thinks the whole idea is foolish, but suddenly Amano's demeanor changes and he lunges at Uhara. He grabs Uhara's collar, dangles him by the bridge, and demands he take back those words. They're currently in a precarious position on an overhead passway with vehicles zooming below. Amano then points out that Tendo has always worked hard for the club. However, once the initial rage is over, Amano gets embarrassed by his actions and lets Ukarada go. He apologizes profusely, but Ukarada admits he shouldn't have said those things either. Ukarada asks if Amano wants to play more games, but Amano says he needs to go home to play by himself. As Ukarada leaves, he runs into Tendo, who is gawking at Amano from a distance like an old man watching Miss World Bikini Round. Ukarada finds it hard to believe someone like Tendo would look at Amano that way. Soon afterwards, Ukarada arrives at the gaming arcade and sees Aguri is standing there while still holding his bag. He asks why Aguri would even like a thin, lanky twink like him. She teases that he already knows, and Ukarada assumes it's his looks, but Aguri clarifies it's because of his kind heart and the fact that she has known him since middle school. Ukarada is shocked and recalls playing a game in middle school and giving a girl a gift he won. Aguri reveals they were coincidentally in the same school, where Ukarada became popular. She changed her hair color to be cuter after learning Ukarada liked blonde girls. As she moves closer, Ukarada panics and runs away because he has never felt the presence of a girl up close. The next day, Amano is playing a game in the classroom when Ukarada greets him. Amano is surprised that someone as cool as Ukarada is talking to him at school. On the other hand, Ukarada's friends ask how he knows Amano, and he casually mentions that they met at the arcade. The next day at school, Uhara, who seems to be in a bad mood, meets Amano near the boys' locker room. Turns out, Amano had suggested a game to him, but it turned out to be a mishmash of ideas with no proper ending. Uhara warns that if Amano ever suggests another game like that, he will pull Amano's underwear over his head. Once they reach class, Amano tries to justify his choices in games by saying that he does realize that most of the games he plays are actually illogical, but he equates playing such games with love, since both of them require more heart and less logic. Ukahara sarcastically asks what a guy like Amano, who has never been to first base, knows about love. The conversation then turns towards relationships, and Ukahara tells Amano to keep communicating with Tendo. Before Amano can reply to anything, he gets a notification from his online friend Mano, and immediately gets engrossed in the game. Ukahara notices that Amano uses the name Tsuki while playing with this mysterious friend, Mano. Irihara realizes that Amano may need some kind of a rehab before he can actually start his romantic life. He knows that Amano will never be able to bag a baddie like Tendo if he continues to be this loser gamer with no riz. So to sharpen Amano's social skills, Irihara decides that he should talk to some chicks who like the same kinds of games that he does. Once the school is over, Arata takes Amano to class 2A, where in a corner, a girl with blue seaweed-like hair is completely engrossed in her handheld console. Her name is Chiaki, and she is a gaming otaku owner just like Amano. Just as Arata is forcing his friend to go talk to this new girl, Aguri arrives at the spot. She chastises Arata for not hanging out with her, which forces him to leave Amano on his own. Despite having no moral support, Amano bravely steps into class 2A, but before he can go talk to his target, Tendo stops him. She indirectly asks if he is here to meet her, but Amano decides to be an honest man at the worst possible time. He tells us that he is here to talk to only one person, and that is Chiaki. This is enough to make Tendo so jealous that she passes out on the spot. Later that evening at the bus stop, Amano tries to strike up a conversation with Chiaki once more. He finally realizes that Tendo had tried to recruit Chiaki to the gaming club too, so he clears up the air by saying that he too was once invited to be a part of it but refused. To the surprise of both of them, they realize that they have similar views on gaming and the purpose behind playing games. They slowly start to converse more and more thanks to their shared views on games as well as general life. As the weeks pass by, they become fast friends and begin hanging out even at school. Everything seems to be going pretty well until one day they both come to philosophical crossroads on their views towards games. Chikai vehemently dislikes that a lot of Japanese games have overly cute characters, and she thinks the most important thing in a game is its soundtrack. This infuriates Amano because he is a huge fan of cute Japanese gaming characters. Their disagreement is so intense that Arata has to step in to reconcile the both of them. Arata uses his charm and good looks to manipulate Chikai into forgiving Amano. He even compliments her, saying that her messy hair looks good on her, but it would look better if she cut her hair short. Unbeknownst to him, his girlfriend Aguri notices this entire conversation and starts thinking that he is into this new girl. Thankfully, Amano sees Aguri watching with jealousy and has enough mental awareness to realize that Aguri has misunderstood the whole situation. The next day at school, Chiaki has a complete makeover with short hair and updated fashion sense. All the guys are awestruck at her beauty, but Chiaki seems to have her eyes on Urehara. She goes straight to him and the duo start having a conversation, but unfortunately, Aguri notices this once more. She runs away from the school lobby, thinking that her boyfriend has now fallen in love with someone else. Amano, who is nearby, sees this and runs after Aguri, but he has the worst luck in the whole universe. That evening, Amano tries to be a man for the first time in his life by pulling Aguri to a cafe for a conversation. There, he tells her that her boyfriend loves her a lot, and that Urara keeps talking about her all the time. His sweet words are enough to help Aguri regain some confidence in her relationship. But just as things look to be heading back to normal, Aguri and Amano notice Urara walking down the street with the new girl. On the other hand, Tendo is also noticing all kinds of changes in our daily life. She regularly used to wake up early in the morning, went jogging so that her girls could bounce around with ease. After returning home, she would study and finish her homework properly. Once the school day was over, Tendo would return home straight, do her homework, play games for a while and go to bed. But ever since she first talked to Amano, her daily routine has gone down the drain. She now wakes up late while having some saucy dreams about Amano. She rushes to school daily because she's always late, and she has also started to ignore her other friends. She uses every opportunity to get a glimpse of Amano, but can't muster up her courage to actually go talk to him. Later that day, Tendo resolves to shift her attention from Amano to the club, but she can't stop thinking about him even while playing with Misumi. Misumi asks about the situation between Amano and Chiaki, causing Tendo to lose focus entirely and mess up the game. Tendo, visibly upset about recent events, walks away, unable to concentrate on winning games. She thinks Amano's words have affected her heart, but corrects herself, saying they've impacted her mind. Seeing Amano, she panics, but composes herself and gently asks where he's going. Amano says he's been playing games all day, and his mother told him to go out and touch some grass for once. Tendo asks if he'd like to hang out with her, but Amano hesitates, worried that being seen together might spark rumors about them dating. Tendo, confused, asks what kind of rumors. When Amano mentions dating rumors, she grabs his shirt to stop him from leaving. Struggling to respond, she declares that she's decided Amano must come with her. They end up at a game shop, where Tendo says she'd come here even if she were on a date. Amano notes it's the same place they first met. He picks up the Golden Memories game, and for some reason the thought of several hot blonde women excites Tendo. She asks if he's buying it, and he confirms he already has. Tendo suggests they visit the arcade, but Amano mentions he's been there with someone else. Tendo, assuming it was Chiaki, grows upset. When Amano asks why, she says she thought he'd go with a boy. Amano feels a bit dejected, and Tendo, still anxious, assumes he went with Chiaki. Seeing a game, Amano stops to look at it. Tendo mentions it's popular, and Amano says he played it with someone else. Tendo, thinking such games are typically played by couples, panics, imagining Amano and Chiaki together. Overwhelmed, she bangs her head on a token machine. Amano, confused, wonders what's wrong with her. Amano notices a sign on the machine offering triple prizes. He inserts coins and wins a large number of points, surprising himself as it's his first time winning such a game or winning anything at all. Tendo, amazed by his luck, challenges him to a competitive game, hoping it will reignite her passion for winning. She carefully selects a game, thinking it will maximize profits and help her stop obsessing over Amano. Amano agrees to the competition but immediately picks a low-point game, confusing Tendo. He admits he doesn't know how to play it well, shocking her further. They play, and Tendo wins numerous coins while Amano wins none. Tendo wonders how he can play so poorly. When one of Tendo's coins falls, Amano picks it up and notices a horse racing game. He asks if he can use the coin, and Tendo agrees. Amano tries his best in the challenge, and Tendo assumes he doesn't care about winning or losing. Amano clarifies that while he's not overly serious about winning, everyone who plays games wants to win to some extent. Tendo is stunned by his words as she has never met a person who is a loser to their core. Amano's horse comes in last, and he admits he lost again. Later at a park, Tendo tells Amano that he seems to enjoy games for the fun of playing, even if he doesn't win. Amano agrees, saying that's probably true. Tendo, confused by his perspective, watches as Amano approaches a vending machine. He accidentally presses 2 buttons at once, getting a drink. When he hits the jackpot, he's overjoyed. Tendo smiles and Amano offers her a juice, saying it's for her victory. As they drink, Tendo asks if it's wrong wrong to try so hard to win, and Amano reassures her that it's not wrong at all. He explains that he doesn't lose because he lacks skill but because he doesn't stick to one game long enough to master it, always switching between games. Tendu is surprised and delighted that he knows how to switch positions. As she starts to leave, Amano asks why she's going so soon. Tendu says she has a game to play at home. The episode ends with Amano smiling. The next day, Ukarada repeatedly tries to call Aguri, but she doesn't answer, which leaves him slightly frustrated. Chiaki Hoshinomori approaches him and asks if they can talk about game development. Surprised, Ukarada asks if she makes games. Chiaki, a bit flustered, hesitates, and Ukarada suggests she talk to Amano about it. Chiaki makes an odd expression as if he had just asked her to donate a kidney, but then she starts playing a game. The focus shifts to her username, Mono, which catches Ukarada's attention. He feels he's seen it before and realizes it's the same username as Amano's online gaming partner. Meanwhile, Amano and Aguri witness Uhara ogling at the girl and are shocked. Uhara is embarrassed and clarifies he was only looking at Chiaki's game. He then asks Chiaki about Suki, Amano's username. Chiaki explains she hasn't met Suki in real life, but they play well together online. Uhara puts a hand on her shoulder and says they need to talk. Sometime later, Ukarada and Chiaki sit in a cafe and discuss Amano. Ukarada asks what Chiaki thinks of him, and she says they're very different, which frustrates Ukarada internally. He mentally screams that they're practically identical and wonders how they don't like each other. Grabbing his head, he asks if Chiaki said she makes games. Chiaki clarifies she's trying to create games under the alias Nobe, but is unsure what kind to make. Inspired, Ukarada gets an idea after seeing two kids talking about games nearby. Later, the two of them sit down with Amano, and Ukera announces they'll discuss Chiaki's game ideas. However, Amano and Chiaki turn to each other and simultaneously ask why the other is there, glaring suspiciously like they are samurais from opposing houses. Ukera suggests they can leave if they want, but they're here to debate games and prove their points with words. He chuckles mischievously to himself, pleased his plan is working. Amano and Chiaki reluctantly agree to stay. Karen Tendo, looking cheerful, enters the classroom and is surprised to see Amano. He remarks that she finally showed up. Chiaki, equally shocked to see Tendo, stares at her and Amano. Tendo nervously asks if they're there to be together. Amano confirms, and this revelation shocks Tendo, who is so dramatic that she feels like the ground is slipping from under her. A frustrated Arata thinks Amano's being an idiot, but seats Tendo and explains they're discussing Chiaki's game ideas. Amano turns away from Chiaki, prompting Arata to comment that they're both so similar. Tendo, confused, says it's a big deal if they're upset with each other. Chiaki admits she's struggling to decide what kind of games to make because she doesn't like other people's choices, and the other people don't like her choices. Uhira acknowledges it's a significant problem and asks Amano for suggestions. Amano casually says he has none, shocking everyone. Chiaki, annoyed, asks if her games don't matter to him. Amano responds that they don't affect him, prompting Tendo to say he's gone too far. Amano, confused, asks why anyone would care if Chiaki makes good or bad games. Tendo and Chiaki are stunned, and Chiaki, now angry, calls him mean. Amano explains that whether a game is good or bad doesn't matter as it reflects the creator's vision, and judging it isn't fair. He adds that as long as you enjoy playing, quality is irrelevant. His words leave everyone stunned. Amano admits his point might not make sense, but Tendo smiles and says he's absolutely right, praising his perspective on Chiaki's games. Chiaki is slightly embarrassed and reacts like he was dropped a few times on her beat as a kid. Uehara, pleased his plan is working, notes that he is trying to get Tendo to talk to Amano. Tendo is also delighted and thanks him internally. As Amano and Tendo stand close looking happy, Amano and Chiaki glance at them suspiciously. Uehara also suddenly says he needs to talk to Aguri and leaves. Meanwhile, Chiaki is confused and asks how someone like Amano got such a cute girlfriend. Her words stun Tendo, and she runs off crying. Amano chases after her, insisting it's a misunderstanding. Meanwhile, Aguri is crying because she is upset her boyfriend may be cheating on her. She grabs Amano's ear, accusing him of saying Uka likes her and praises her, yet he is on the streets there pimping out with other girls. Amano explains that Ukarada was helping Chiaki, not flirting. A waiter interrupts, asking them to keep quiet. Aguri silently sips her juice. Amano reflects that Ukarada was popular but unaware of his playboy reputation. He asks Aguri if she still likes Ukarada. She confirms she does but adds that sometimes in love, the person you like doesn't like you back as much, yet you can't stop loving them. Amano takes her hand, promising to help her. At the cafe's entrance, Chiaki confronts Uehara, demanding an explanation. Uehara says he told Chiaki that Aguri is the best, cutest girlfriend. Amano believes there's no misunderstanding now, but Chiaki's odd reaction puzzles him. Aguri, hearing this, says it's good Uehara explained, or there could have been violent consequences. She and Uehara stand, vowing to work together to help each other. Amano with Tendo, and Aguri with Uehara. They speak loudly, and the waiter, now angry, approaches. Later, Uehara plays a game, visibly upset about Amano and Aguri. In another scene, Amano proposes to someone in a dating game, but the girl, who looks terrifying, says she wants to keep their relationship platonic. Amano wakes up, realizing it was a dream from the dating game he's playing. He usually clears all levels, but this one, featuring a girl resembling Tendo, is troubling him. Amano and Uhara later talk, and Uhara points out that Amano talks to Chiaki like she's a guy. Amano says he can't help it because he has always imagined Chiaki with a strap on. Uhara teases that Amano went to the arcade with Tendo, shocking him. Amano insists Tendo is different, and there's no comparison. He wonders why Uhara cares so much about him and Aguri. Uhara says it's because they're friends. Amano grabs his hand, admitting he needs help. He remembers to call Aguri, who's shopping at the time. A few days later, Ukahara and Chiaki are having a discussion where Ukahara tells Chiaki she should reconsider her feelings about Kita Amano. Chiaki is still confused and asks how someone as basic as white bread like Amano could have such a cute girlfriend. He hopes Chiaki might do something positive, but is taken aback when she calls Amano useless and incapable. Ukahara asks if she really thinks that, and inquires about Amano and Karen Tendo. Chiaki hides her face, while Amano and Aguri nearby overhear. Chiaki admits she thinks Tendo is a great girl and imagines they could spend more time together if she were as passionate about gaming. When Chiaki asks Uhara about Tendo, he calls her difficult, but thinks she's perfect for Amano. Chiaki assumes Uhara, like other girls, has a crush on Tendo. Uhara counters that while Tendo is impressive, Chiaki isn't far behind, patting her head. Flustered, Chiaki starts to leave, and Uhara follows. Amano and Aguri overhear, and Amano suspects Uhara is cheating on Aguri, while Aguri feels devastated. Amano and Aguri discuss Uhara's behavior, wondering how he could act this way. Aguri shifts focus, urging Amano to think about Tendo, warning that inaction will lead nowhere. She shares that she was once scared but took a chance by talking to Uehara, and now they're together despite the fact that she suspects he's cheating. Amano, retracting his earlier comment, asks what's needed to talk to a girl in dating games. Aguri explains you need to raise your stats. She teases that Amano's useless in real life, saying high school is all about love. Amano, stunned by her enthusiasm, admits he's unsure how to approach Tendo or start a conversation. He asks how Aguri approached Uehara. Aguri says she wanted to know him better, asked him out directly, and he agreed. Amano, shocked by her straightforwardness, decides to do the same. Aguri cheers him on, saying he's finally motivated. They disrupt the restaurant again with their loud talk. Elsewhere, Tendo once again politely rejects a boy's advances, explaining her reasons, but he leaves angrily like a child who has been denied milk. Misumi calls out to her and tells her that they need to talk. Tendo admits she dislikes rejecting people this way, and Misumi suggests she reject others more gently to avoid hurting them. Tendo wonders if she's bad at communicating. Misumi clarifies she's too logical in her rejections and should speak from the heart. He warns that constantly rejecting people this way could become a habit, preventing her from getting closer to Amano. Tendo takes his advice seriously. Amano goes full-on incel mode as he plays a dating game where a girl is harassed by delinquents, with options to save her or flee. He chooses to flee, and the game ends in failure. Frustrated, he notes it's his 6th loss despite having strong stats. Aguri sends him a good luck message for tomorrow, and Arata and Misumi also send encouraging tips. Inspired, Amano retries the game. Facing the same choice, he reflects that he shouldn't just help the girl he likes but all girls. Though irrelevant in dating games, he helps everyone, leading to the girl confessing her feelings because of his kindness. The game ends happily, and Amano credits his friends for his success. In the classroom, Ukarata's friends ask why Tendo is meeting Amano. Ukarata feigns ignorance, suggesting it's personal, but inwardly admits he spread rumors to pressure Tendo into not rejecting Amano easily. Amano finds the situation strange but thanks Ukarata, who secretly hopes Amano confesses to Tendo in front of Aguri to clear up misunderstandings. In class, Aguri mentally maps out everyone's crushes. Ukarata likes Tendo. Tendo finds Ukarata attractive. Chiaki likes Ukarata, and Ukarata likes Chiaki. Overwhelmed, she starts crying and wonders what will happen to Chikai or her if Tendo ends up with Ukarata. She decides she can't act yet, as all these are simply stupid theories in her head. Chiaki meanwhile questions why Tendo is meeting Amano, suspecting he's using her for money or blackmailing her publicly while threatening her privately. Oblivious, Amano attends class calmly. Uhara believes his plan is foolproof. If Amano confesses to Tendo, Aguri's reaction will reveal if she likes Amano. He'll stay calm to avoid tipping her off. Aguri calculates that if Amano's confession to Tendo upsets her, it means she likes him. Chiaki considers the reverse. Tendo might be planning to humiliate Amano publicly. Despite his foolishness, he's a naive gamer with no friend as she vows to support him. All three, Amano, Uhara, and Aguri, nervously wait for the moment of truth. Tendo, noticing Ukarata and Chiaki staring intensely, panics, wondering why Amano called her. She fears he wants to end their friendship, thinking she's been bothering him when he just wants to game in peace. Resolving to express her true feelings, she heads to Amano's class. Seeing her, Amano nervously raises his hand, calling out to her. He notices Ukarata, Aguri, and Chiaki are also present, reassuring himself that with friends around, everything will be fine. He tells Tendo he's glad she came, and starts to explain why he called her. Tendo, tearful, interrupts, urging him to say it quickly. Amano assumes she's about to reject him outright. He glances at Ukarata, who looks away, Aguri, who avoids eye contact, and Chiaki, hiding behind others. Amano thinks they all know Tendo will reject him, but appreciates their support. Noticing Aguri's dejected expression, Ukarata wonders if she truly likes Amano. Aguri, seeing Ukarata's sadness, fears he likes Tendo. Chiaki observes their mutual staring and suspects they're exploiting Amano's naivety to have a three-way. Tendo takes a deep breath, smiles, and prepares to hear Amano out. Amano, recalling his time with Tendo and his dating game victory, asks her to be his girlfriend. Without thinking, Tendo says yes. Amano, realizing he meant to ask about friendship, is stunned, as is Tendo by her own response. The entire class, Ukarata, Aguri, and Chiaki, are shocked. Everyone in class begins to gossip about the sheer dumbness of Amano, but he is completely disconnected and starts playing a game. He tells Tasaku Uhara about the situation, and Uhara reflects that his plan to have Amano confess publicly wasn't the best idea. The entire class continues to watch Uhara talk about Amano. Uhara advises Amano to ignore the chatter, noting that Amano was asking about friendship, not anything else. Amano notices Uhura looks upset and asks why. Uhura explains, it's because Aguri spends all her time with someone else. Amano is confused and wonders who Aguri is with, then realizes it's him. In the restroom, Amano washes his hands, thinking he messed up by confessing to Tendo and wonders what to do next. As he exits, he bumps into Tendo, who is startled and flustered. She composes herself and asks where he's going, but Amano, who wants to jump off a cliff out of embarrassment, says he remembered something, runs off. Tendo is slightly saddened, but she can do nothing but watch him leave. As Amano walks, he ponders how to talk to Tendo. Suddenly, Chiaki calls out to him, and he approaches her. Chiaki says she knows why Amano called her, catching him off guard. She claims things are happening behind his back. Amano, assuming he's aware, asks what she means by cheating. Chiaki dismisses it and advises him to stay away from a girl with pink hair and stick with Tendo instead. Later, Amano faces an angry Aguri on his phone. He apologizes, but Aguri is also upset because she didn't expect Uhura to act this way. Amano explains that Uhura felt guilty during the confession and insists he wasn't cheating. Aguri questions why Uhura looked at Amano's cute girlfriend like he wanted her cake. Amano, realizing he's also being seen as a cheater, suggests they stop this talk. Aguri asks what he plans to do with Tendo. Amano admits he's unsure, and Aguri urges him to focus on his own feelings. Amano agrees to do so, and Aguri says goodbye. On the rooftop, Tendo is anxious, believing Amano called her to break up. She adjusts her hair using her phone's camera, preparing herself. She assumes Amano anticipated her reaction and wants a calm breakup. Amano arrives and notices that Tendo is facing away from him. She says she's ready for whatever he has to say, but internally she is assuming he is about to end things. Amano hesitates, then says the most corniest thing possible by asking if she hates him. Tendo firmly denies it, and then he follows it up by asking if she'd go on a date with him. He even admits he's not as great as Uhura, but will try to make her happy. Shocked by the word date, Tendu blushes like a tomato on a barbecue grill. Amano adds that since she's his girlfriend, they should go on dates. Tendu is extremely embarrassed and admits she's busy, but can make time for him. Amano thanks her, but Tendu clarifies they're keeping it casual, not formal. Amano salutes, saying yes sir, and Tendu salutes back, leaving both confused about why they're acting like officers. Tendu, reminding herself she's his girlfriend, not his boss, runs off. After a few hours, a sharply dressed Tendo and a nervous Amano arrive at an arcade. Tendo suggests they explore things, but makes it clear she meant explore different games. So they play table tennis, tug of war, bowling, and pool. Tendo wins every game, while Amano loses spectacularly. Feeling dejected, Tendo, however, enjoys herself immensely. Amano notes they got to play various games freely, but Tendo says her fun came from someone else, him. Amano checks the arcade map and mentions a swimming pool, then corrects himself, embarrassed. Tendo teases if he wants to see her in a swimsuit. Amano, flustered, admits he does, making Tendo blush. They head to the pool. At the pool, Amano is awestruck by Tendo's stunning appearance and thinks she is a blessing to his eyes. Tendo wishes he'd give a normal compliment. They notice a couple playing in the water, and Tendo, excited, challenges Amano to a water fight. Amano tries to dodge Tendo's splashes, seizing a chance to counterattack. Tendo smiles but easily avoids his attempt, dousing him with water. Amano admits he fell for her trap and loses. They watch the couple again, admiring their playful dynamic, and start to leave. They spot a very filmy scene where Chiaki is being harassed by two guys. Thankful, the guys leave upon seeing Amano and Tendo. Chiaki explains she came with her younger sister, who's now missing. Tendo offers to help find her, and Amano agrees, surprising Chiaki. Tendo, annoyed, insists she can handle it alone. Amano salutes, stepping back. Later, Amano confronts Chiaki and asks why she's still there. Chiaki replies that she has no one to go with as her sister has already left. She teases Amano about not knowing how to please girls, suggesting challenges. Tendo, energized by the word challenge, joins in. The trio plays a racing game, but Amano lags behind from the start as always. Tendo encourages him, and he closes the gap. Two kids explain a booster to Amano, impressing Tendo and Chiaki with their knowledge. Other kids cheer for Chiaki, but Amano uses his booster, causing a massive in-game explosion that ruins his race. Later, Amano sits dejectedly, while Tendo faces away. Suddenly, Tendo bursts out laughing. Amano, who had been thinking she's upset, is relieved when she explains his booster misuse caused his loss. Tendo adds she's not angry, and never lets Amano win intentionally, knowing a hollow victory wouldn't satisfy him. She then says she likes him because he makes games fun, and he is kinda of a loser. In the student council room, the president thinks to herself that she feels overshadowed by Tendo's popularity. She is simply incapable of understanding how Tendo achieves everything so effortlessly because she has no idea about anime plot armor. As the student council meeting concludes, the members leave, and the president, thrilled, pulls out a set of casual clothes. She quickly changes her appearance to go incognito and sneaks into a game shop. There, she excitedly browses games, nearly dropping one in her enthusiasm. She considers buying a rhythm game but picks up Golden Memories instead. At the game shop, Amano enters, and the girl recognizes him. She immediately hides as she sees that his school uniform resembles her sister's. She observes that Amano looks decent but is also painfully ordinary like vanilla ice cream. When Amano notices her, she starts acting strangely. Amano asks Ichi Masumi which game he should get, and Masumi suggests a dating game. Amano asks if Masumi knows anything about it, and Masumi says he's heard it's popular. The girl, overhearing, agrees it's a well-known game and a good choice. Amano mentions he's heard of it too, but Masumi stops him from buying it, warning against choosing a game just for its popularity. Masumi asks which game Amano would recommend. Amano suggests Rainbow Magical Girls, surprising the girl, who notes it's an older, less popular game. game. Amano admits it's not well known but says he enjoyed playing it. The girl, intrigued by his perspective, realizes that Amano is one of those weirdos who treats games like people. Misumi decides to buy Rainbow Magical Girls. Later in her room, the girl lies down as she is completely exhausted, while Rainbow Magical Girls can be seen nearby. Her sister Chiaki Hoshinomori picks it up, revealing the girl as Chiaki's younger sister. The scene shifts to Amano and Aguri at a wedding-themed board game event. Cutting a cake, Chiaki eats the cake eagerly, while Tasuku Uehara, Tendo, Amano and Aguri play the board game Love Money. Amano and Aguri, as a fictional couple, seem unenthusiastic, while Uehara and Tendo, also paired, aren't enjoying it much either. Chiaki meanwhile shows off a new game she won via her phone. Amano notes it's a board game requiring multiple players, but Chiaki insists it can be played with fewer. They debate, and Uehara suggests inviting more people, hinting at Tendo. Chiaki agrees, thinking it could involve Aguri to clear misunderstandings. Amano, regretting the situation, notices the couple's mode keeps him and Aguri, and Uehara and Tendo, seated far apart. Aguri takes her turn and spins a wheel that ends up landing on Pregnant. She insists it's not her fault, but Uehara, visibly upset, forces a smile. He explains the game's premise. Amano and Aguri are married, with Aguri working all day. Tendo spins, winning 1,000,000 yen, exciting her. Chiaki's turn lands on marriage, and Uehara's spin lands on married couple, infuriating Aguri, who glares at him. Uehara begins to sweat buckets and insists it's not his fault. Aguri spins again, landing on buying a new house due to having kids, and glares at Amano, who denies responsibility. Amano spins, getting another child, upsetting Uehara further. Tendo, angry, spins and wins 10,000,000 yen, joking she'll soon be rich. Uehara, nervous, spins and lands on cheating with his wife's younger sister. Chiaki's sister slams the door, shocking everyone. Chiaki spins and eventually lands on liking someone else after marriage, with Amano as the only guy present. Uehara, who was already acting like a jealous third lead in a romance movie, wonders if she genuinely likes Amano. He urges Amano to spin, but Amano, apologizing for his behavior, sits quietly. Aguri spins again, landing on liking someone who comes to her, making her happy. Urata feels a flicker of joy, but the result adds that since she's married, she rejects the person, enraging her. She glares at Amano, who looks away. Tendo spins, gaining 10 new customers, and jokingly says she'll get richer, but cries. Chiaki's sister arrives, calling her away. Urata expresses interest in meeting her, but Tendo advises him to retract that. Amano, distracted, looks at his phone, realizing he and Chiaki play the same game. He discreetly pushes Chiaki's phone under the couch to hide it. Amano asks Urata what he's doing, but the latter brushes it off. Amano resumes his game and Tendo watches, impressed. Chiaki remarks that despite Amano's foolishness, he's a good person. Urata grabs Chiaki, asking what she thinks of Amano. She calls him a great friend, like a brother, delighting Urata. He grabs Aguri's hand, calling her his girlfriend, but Aguri, noticing Tendo, asks what he means. Urata clarifies he's talking about Tendo and his friends, including Amano, who has few but meaningful friends. Amano reveals he uses different usernames like Suchi and Mano, with Nobi as his friend. Upon hearing this revelation, Chiaki is stunned and covers her mouth. Amano says he loves talking to his friends, and even calls them amazing. It is revealed that Chiaki always loved gaming, even when she was just a child. Inspired by her passion, she began researching online how games are made, which led her to fall in love with coding at a young age. She was such a nerd that she used to check several websites on her laptop, and used to read reviews of her games. Most reviews are negative, which demotivated her, but one positive review from a user named Suchi uplifted her, and reignited her motivation. Next, Chiaki lies on the floor, and her younger sister asks what she's doing. Chiaki sits up, asking if everyone has left, and Konoha confirms they left long ago. Chiaki recalls the recent board game event, where she learned Amano is both Tsuki and Mano, her close online gaming friends. She asks Konoha if she's ever disliked someone's real self, but liked their alternate persona. Konoha is confused and asks who she's talking about. Chiaki clarifies she's referring to herself, saying she can't suddenly like Amano. Konoha asks for the person's name, and when Chiaki says Amano, Konoha recognizes him as the one who plays Chiaki's games, suggesting her feelings might be romantic. She playfully hits Chiaki with a karate chop, teasing that Chiaki actually likes Amano, not Tendo. Chiaki blushes intensely, collapses, and rolls around on the floor in embarrassment. Later in her room, Chiaki prepares to reply to Suki aka Amano's review, but deletes her message and collapses again. She notices a magazine on the floor from last month, and quickly goes to Konoha's room and knocks. She sees Konoha's face is extremely red, but the latter claims she was exercising, then mentions she's going to the supermarket to buy a new game magazine. Chiaki asks if she needs anything, but Konoha declines. As Chiaki leaves, Konoha asks to use her computer due to low storage on her own. Chiaki agrees but asks what she's doing. Konoha hesitates, saying she wants to watch a dating sim's opening cutscene, then quickly changes the topic and sends Chiaki out. Chiaki finds her behavior odd but leaves. At the bookstore, Konoha buys her magazine but spots Amano outside. She's startled. The scene shifts to Chiaki and Amano together, with Chiaki accusing him of stalking her. Amano explains he wasn't following her like a crazy stalker as he was heading to her house to retrieve forgotten items and accidentally ran into her. He tried calling, but her phone was off. Chiaki checks and realizes her phone's battery died. Amano teases her for being careless in this day and age, but Chiaki insists she usually charges it and forgot this time. Amano calls her excuse childish. They head to Chiaki's house together. Chiaki expected Amano to be home playing games like a typical basement dweller, but Amano says he wanted to do something else today. Chiaki, recalling how he mentioned Tendo with so much love, feels a bit sad. sad. Amano explains he's trying to be the best version of himself for Tendo, embracing challenges, which is why he was visiting Chiaki's house. Chiaki is surprised, noting that talking to Tendo, someone Amano isn't used to socializing with, was a bold move. Amano admits that seeing Tendo enjoy their conversation made it easier for him to talk freely. Chiaki pauses and flashes back to their first meeting when she was just gaming casually, when Amano ended up bothering her like a bum. She admits it wasn't all bad since Amano helped her connect with Yuhara. Amano is embarrassed and says it was like he was harassing her, which makes Chiaki smile. Only a few minutes later, they arrive at her house. Amano mentions needing his card wallet. Chiaki offers to let him rest as it's hot outside, but hides his wallet, which she spots on the table. She sits him on the couch, insisting he stay until she charges her phone. In her room, she plugs in her phone and sees a message from Amano that upsets her. Amano enters, commenting on the delay, startling Chiaki. In her panic, she accidentally turns on her PC and her phone, displaying her game, falls to the floor. Terrified, Chiaki begs Amano not to look at her phone or enter her room. Amano, who has no concept of boundaries or consent, asks why he can't come in. Chiaki grabs his leg, pleading. Amano looks at her monitor, where her game website is open, then at her phone showing Mano's login. Chiaki, distressed, admits she didn't want him to know yet, but fate intervened. Amano, taking it seriously, feels guilty. Konoha enters and demands to know what Amano's doing there. Chiaki finally blurts out the truth. She is Mano, while her sister is Nobe. This revelation hits Amano like a freight train, and he struggles to process that he has actually been online friends with two girls. Later at a cafe, Amano explains this to Arata, who's shocked. Arata thinks making Konoha her little sister online wasn't a great idea. Amano agrees, finding Konoha's behavior odd, as if she was unaware of the context, and Chiaki kept insisting she stay seated. Chiaki then revealed Konoha is both Nobe and Mano. Chiaki explains that she and her sister create games together. Amano finds their behavior strange, but tells Arata he thought Mano was a good friend online. Meeting Chiaki in real life felt different because can't wrap his head around the fact that real life and online life aren't completely different. Arata reflects that these were Chiaki's choices, and there's nothing to be done. Amano, still thinking about Tendo being with him, admits he's not thrilled. Arata asks if Chiaki said anything, but Amano says no. Ukara, working a delivery job, admits he thought of Chiaki before Tendo, yet he's not happy that Amano and Tendo are together, suggesting he still likes Tendo or perhaps someone else likes Amano, which he dismisses as impossible. At a game store, Amano apologizes to a kid for buying a newly released dating sim. He spots Konoha buying the same game, surprising her. Konoha laments that her good day is ruined by running into him. Amano asks if she plays dating sims, and Konoha tells him to mind his business. Amano notes that Mano isn't rude in games. Konoha explains that Mano and she are different, but she's still herself. Amano wonders if it's like multiple personalities. Konoha insists that while she might be rude in person, Mano is always kind in games. As they walk, Konoha asks if Amano is older. He confirms, maybe by a year. Konoha urges him to talk nicely the next day, but warns him not to tell anyone about the dating sim, especially her sister. Amano, scared, agrees. Konoha asks what Amano thinks of her sister, and admits he doesn't think about her much. Amano says he loves their work, which surprises but also angers Konoha, who feels like punching him for being such a strange person. She punches him, sending him flying. Later, Chiaki is on her phone when Amano and Konoha arrive. Chiaki, shocked, asks why they're together. Amano explains they met while buying the same dating sim. Konoha grabs Chiaki's leg, saying she forgot their agreement. Amano clarifies he was buying the game, not Konoha. Chiaki questions why they're together if Amano likes Mano so much. Amano explains he was boxing with Konoha to learn more about her. Chiaki, exasperated, gets a call and leaves. Amano, relieved, says that's enough for today. Konoha asks if they can meet again, and Amano agrees. Chiaki, frustrated, demands to know what Amano wants to say. Amano asks what's wrong, and Chiaki admits she didn't understand Ukarata's explanation, but seriously considered that Ukarata liked her first, not Tendo. They wonder if Ukarata confessed his love to Chiaki. Meanwhile, Ukarata keeps works while sneezing like a broken fire alarm in a black household. A few days later, Amano invites Aguri to a game center, but she questions why she should go since she doesn't play games. Amano explains she can spend time with Tasuku Urahara there. Aguri retorts that despite having a boyfriend, she can't always follow him around. Amano mentions that Tendo will also be there, prompting Aguri to note that Tendo plays games, so it makes sense. Amano knows she loves desserts and jokingly tells her that she can have his dessert too, but only if she joins her at the game center. Enticed by the dessert offer, Aguri agrees to go and starts eating Tendo's dessert. Amano, watching, thinks to himself that she can eat as much as she wants, as long as she's happy, because she'll soon discover her boyfriend Uarata is cheating. Later, Chiaki talks to Amano and says he must be thrilled since the person he likes proposed to her. Amano is confused and admits he doesn't know what to do. Konoha pokes her head into the conversation once more, warning that Amano has a girlfriend and might cheat on her, or even on Chiaki. She threatens to punch him. Amano, shocked, realizes he forgot about Aguri's situation. Konoha insists Chiaki must decide what to do. Chiaki says she's not ready for any relationship. Amano suggests consulting someone experienced in rejecting people without ruining friendships, and calls Tendo to ask how to reject someone tactfully. Tendo, alarmed, shouts, asking why he's asking such questions. Amano notices noticing a boxer practicing nearby, jokingly asks if a boxer accidentally punched her, causing her to yell. Chiaki and Konoha, stunned by his question, stare at him. Tendo clarifies that a boxer's punch wouldn't affect Amano. Amano insists it would, as Tendo is his precious girlfriend. Tendo, flustered, says "I love you" and hangs up. Amano, confused, sits pondering what she meant. Konoha, annoyed, asks what he's thinking. Amano says he's reflecting on how great his girlfriend is. Konoha, exasperated, hits him, saying they weren't talking about his girlfriend. She teases that he must have been rejected before, calling him cute. Amano, noticing a boxer practicing nearby, jokingly asks if a boxer accidentally punched her, causing her to yell. Chiaki and Konoha, stunned by his question, stare at him. Amano counters that Konoha, as student council president, must be too busy for romance, yet still plays dating sims. Konoha glares, and Amano shifts the topic, admitting he's played many dating sims but doesn't know how to reject someone. Konoha suggests using lack of time as an excuse. Chiaki interrupts, saying she needs to focus on making games, and questions why Amano and Konoha, both as Nobe, make games. Konoha explains she doesn't do much but simply helps Chiaki. Amano, seeing their odd behavior, suggests they sit down and clear things up later at the game center. Chiaki and Konoha, stunned by his confidence, grow anxious. At the game center, Amano announces he's gathered everyone to discuss something important. Tendo, worried, asks why he's so serious. Aguri notes he's not usually this intense. Amano begins to explain, but Chiaki hides her face, nervous. Amano shouts, asking how they don't know that Space Hoshino 5 is about to fail. Everyone is shocked. Chiaki, expecting a discussion about Amano's confession, is confused. Amano admits he was nervous seeing everyone but explains he loves space mission games like Space Hoshino 5. Chiaki points out it's neither famous nor great. Others agree Amano has quirky tastes. Amano insists he loves Space Hoshino 5 for reasons he can't explain, and not because it contains busty waifus. Uhara, supportive, says it's fine if Amano likes it. Aguri adds that if he loves it so much, it must be good. Amano clarifies it was Chiaki's first indie game, which he adored, having played all its sequels and feeling deeply connected to it. He vows to keep playing as long as Chiaki makes games. Chiaki listens intently, moved. Amano adds that amidst these issues, he forgot to turn on free mode, shocking Uhara, who says that makes winning harder. Amano, undeterred, says he'll keep playing despite his age, leaving Chiaki stunned by his passion. Later, Chiaki lies in her room when Konoha enters, startled by its messy state after turning on the light. Chiaki explains she's searching for an old game. Konoha asks if the game center confession was discussed. Chiaki admits Amano ruined everything, but Konoha asks what Chiaki thinks of him. Chiaki calls him a huge village idiot, but Konoha presses, suggesting Chiaki has feelings for him. Chiaki, flustered, can't respond. Konoha advises her to understand her own feelings first, noting Amano already has Tendo. Konoha adds that doesn't mean Chiaki should ignore her feelings. She leaves, and Chiaki sits, lost in thought. At school, Amano heads to buy Space Hoshino 5. Uehara, seeing his enthusiasm, remarks that Amano's passion outshines his own. Amano notices a message from Aguri, saying she's meeting a friend. He rushes off, realizing Aguri's absence gives him a chance to clear things up with Chiaki, admitting he was drawn to her first. Amano then asks how she feels, but Chiaki is nervous and says she doesn't want to reveal her true self. Uehara assumes she hasn't accepted Amano's relationship with Tendo. He apologizes for rushing her, saying everyone wants quick answers in such situations. Tendo arrives, asking what they're discussing, revealing she needs to talk about recent events with Amano. Meanwhile, Aguri checks a message on her phone. Realizing she's been trapped, her middle school friend with two other girls shows Aguri old photos and mock her for looking like a peacock that has recently fled a zoo. Aguri tries to stop them, but they laugh, questioning why she's with nerds like Amano when she has a boyfriend. Aguri retorts she'd rather be with nerd friends than monkeys like them. Her friend grabs her, saying she invited Aguri to catch up, not to argue. When her friend insults Amano, calling him a nerd, Aguri defends him, saying he's her friend and deserves respect even if he's a nerd. Her friend, shocked, continues mocking Aguri, who ignores her, sarcastically thanking her for the compliment. Aguri tries calling Uhara, but he doesn't answer, and she sits sadly. Ukarada's phone is on silent in his bag. He asks Tendo what's happening with her. Tendo explains that since dating Amano, her skin has become smoother. Ukarada, flustered, thinks he's losing control again. Tendo adds that spending time with Amano means playing games, which she enjoys because of his unique nature. Chiaki agrees, saying that's why everyone likes him. Ukarada, feeling guilty about Chiaki, looks at Tendo, who's praising Amano. He grabs both, suggesting they change topics. Aguri arrives, noticing Ukarada's hand on Tendo's shoulder. She bursts into tears, accusing him of cheating with two girls. She runs off, with Ukarada, Tendo, and Chiaki chasing her. Tendo and Chiaki reassure Aguri, saying they like her but not romantically, and it's not the right time for compliments. They call her a cheater too, confusing Aguri, who accuses Ukarada of cheating. She begs Amano to save her. Amano arrives, shocked, asking what's happening. Fearing Aguri thinks they've broken up, he suggests it's a misunderstanding. Aguri, tearfully explaining, makes Amano feel sad. He apologizes to her. Everyone is stunned to see Amano. Tendo asks if he got Space Hoshino 5. Amano admits he didn't because he was worried about Aguri. She hits him, calling him sweet but foolish. Amano stops her, saying he came to propose to her or clarifying his feelings to be more accurate. Everyone is shocked by their relationship dynamic. That afternoon, Uka reflects on recent events and worries that Karen Tendu might be depressed by the chaos. He eventually decides that he is not useful enough to help others, so his best course of action would be to mind his own business. Thankfully, Tendu calls out to him and he snaps back to reality. Ukura explains that Aguri sees Kita Amano as a little brother, so they shouldn't interfere in their conversation. Tendu acknowledges this but notes that Amano and Aguri are still very close. They both sigh deeply. Tendu admits she thought Aguri would influence Amano, but it seems Amano's charm has affected Aguri instead. Tendu agrees, feeling the same. Uka amuses that Amano leaves a deep impression on everyone, bringing out their true personalities. They marvel at how Amano profits from his quiet nature. Tendo jokingly asks if Ukura would give Amano a gamer's reward for his impact. Ukura firmly refuses, but Tendo reveals she has a plan to save their relationships. Ukura, curious, asks for details, but Tendo grabs his arm, saying they're already at her house. She explains the plan is simple: show everyone they're committed to their partners by acting like a couple publicly. Tendo blushes, embarrassed by the idea but laughs, excited to save her relationship. Ukura wonders what he's gotten himself into, noticing someone watching them. They have no idea that it is none other than Chiaki Hoshinomori. Tendo calls Amano, proposing a double date with Uhara and Aguri. Amano, unaccustomed to such outings, feels uncomfortable. Tendo admits she is also new to this, but she is open to try something new. Amano, seeing it'll make Tendo happy, hesitates but agrees, unable to refuse. Tendo outlines the plan, detailing where and how they'll go. Amano realizes the plan was prearranged. At a theme park based on an RPG game, Tendo and Amano are thrilled by the immersive setting, calling it a gamer's paradise. Aguri notes their excitement, while Uhara and Amano compare the park to in-game environments. Aguri teases that they're acting like nerds who are so aloof that they don't even notice the lice in their head, but Amano and Uhara insist the place isn't lame, just unique. Tendo and Uhara bicker playfully, then start whispering to each other, leaving Aguri and Amano trailing behind, feeling left out. Aguri sits, visibly troubled by the double date. She asks Amano if he's unbothered by it. Amano replies that the double date will expose Ukarada's cheating. Meanwhile, Amano and Chiaki grow somber. Suspecting Tendo and Ukarada's excitement means they've been deceived to allow the two to spend time together. As they prepare for a ride, Tendo signals Ukarada, who declares it's time to level up and tries to hold Aguri's hand, but Konoha, Shinomori, and Chiaki arrive, interrupting. A flashback shows Konoha asking Chiaki if she'd join Amano on a theme park date, offering 2 tickets. Chiaki, hesitant, cites her busy schedule and game development. Konoha threatens that she might climb Amano herself like a tree, prompting Chiaki to agree reluctantly. Konoha, thrilled, tells Chiaki to pick her best outfit, leaving Chiaki anxious about her wardrobe. Konoha, scheming, had been watching them to protect her sister, and now holds the tickets. Back at the park, Konoha introduces herself, rudely calling Uehara a big guy. Offending him, Uehara asks why Konoha and Chiaki are there. Konoha claims it's a coincidence, but her knowing smirk unsettles Tendo. Tendo clarifies they're on a double date, shocking Konoha. Amano suggests they all tour as a group, further surprising Tendo and Konoha. They tease that Amano, who usually likes to be alone, is now advocating for group fun. The group enjoys rides and attractions, with Uehara watching Aguri and Tendo feeling uneasy about the double date. Konoha, delighted, thrives in the chaos, but dizziness hits everyone from excessive spinning rides. Amano checks on Chiaki, asking if she's okay. Chiaki assures him she's fine. They discuss visiting a haunted house. Amano, excited, asks Tendo if something's wrong. She denies it, but Uehara signals her, hinting they can still act couple-like. Tendo agrees, directing Chiaki and Amano inside the haunted house. A ghost scares Aguri, who grabs Uehara's hand. Amano accidentally brushes Tendo's, startling her. Konoha presses forward, but trips on a trap, triggering fake spiders. Tendo screams, terrified, and Amano reassures her they're fake. Konoha, unimpressed, grows bored. They face a forked path, and Amano, noticing Chiaki's odd behavior, asks why she's acting strange, calling her a weird subscriber. Chiaki gives an awkward smile. Amano reaches for her hand but misses, and they move forward. Tendo extends her hand to Amano, but he's gone. Outside, Amano and Chiaki emerge. Amano explains to Konoha he meant to go with Tendo but took the wrong path. Konoha notices Chiaki's dejected face and sees her faint, collapsing onto Amano, unconscious. Chiaki wakes in Konoha's lap, who explains she passed out. Amano asks if Chiaki's okay, and she confirms she is. Konoha, smirking, leaves to buy juice. Amano offers to go instead, but Konoha insists he stay with Chiaki. Amano looks at Chiaki, who asks him to stop staring. Chiaki, gathering courage, starts to speak, but Tendo calls Amano, interrupting. Chiaki grabs his sleeve, admitting she's scared of being alone. Amano offers to stay, but Chiaki urges him to join Tendo. Noticing she looks tired, Chiaki, lost in thought, asks Amano what he thinks of Mano, wondering if Mano is more important than Tendo. Amano insists it's not a competition, saying he's still figuring out why he loves Tendo, but Uhara, Aguri, and Chiaki are all dear friends. Chiaki is touched by his words, and is also stunned that Amano actually has an emotional range despite being a basement-dwelling gamer. Meanwhile, Konoha, who had been eavesdropping, is caught by Amano, who asks why she's back without juice. Konoha snaps that she is not his servant, and that he should buy it himself. Chiaki then tells Amano to leave, as they're heading home, urging him to spend the remaining time with his girlfriend. Amano mentions they haven't seen the park's parade yet, grabs Chiaki's hand and pulls her along, with Konoha following. Tendo waits for Amano and the group reunites. Amano explains Chiaki fainted, and he brought her back, holding her hand. Chiaki beams, which Uhara notices. Tendo suggests they hurry to avoid missing the parade. The parade dazzles everyone, especially Aguri, whom Uhara watches. He takes her hand, asking if she wants a closer view, leading her forward, leaving Tendo watching. Amano extends his hand to Tendo, Tendo, who grabs it, saying it's to avoid getting lost in the crowd. Konoha, who is now alone, wonders if she should see the parade closer, and laments she couldn't confess her feelings to Amano. Chiaki reassures her she'll tell him tomorrow if not today, and the two gleefully join the others. Uhirata, seeing Chiaki happy, feels content. Aguri climbs onto Uhirata's shoulders, surprising him. He asks what she's doing, and they watch the parade together, standing close. Amano offers Tendo a closer view, but trips into a ditch, falling. Tendo, still holding his hand, steadies him. Elsewhere, Masumi is deeply immersed in a game with a rather shady and peculiar storyline. He starts as a farmer, mastering the game after days of play. As he progresses, he encounters people kidnapping a girl. Masumi rushes to her aid, defeating the kidnappers with a single attack, leaving the girl astonished. Later, he learns her family scolded her but cares for her deeply, though some still aim to kidnap her sister. Masumi notices the sister gets inexplicably angry when he talks to other girls. Joining a gamers club, Masumi undergoes rigorous training to compete in a video game tournament. He defeats numerous opponents, gaining fame, and reaches the final round against his sister, who becomes his opponent, shocking him. She taunts him, asking if he's distracted by that girl he's always with and why she'd be there. Despite being a gamer, Masumi shows surprising emotional maturity and insists it's just a game, not reality. His sister challenges him, and the match begins. They charge at each other, but Masumi uses his special move, easily winning. On the other hand, Tendo declares that boys and girls will sleep in separate rooms and bans flirting since their parents trust that they won't behave out of line. Chiaki Hoshinomori agrees, but Aguri complains that staying over loses its fun if she can't enjoy time with Tasuku Uehara. Uehara teases that she knew they'd play games. Aguri retorts she didn't expect constant gaming. Keita Amano notes they're at least spending time together. Aguri worries that if everyone pairs off, Chiaki will be left alone, but Tendo's presence prevents that. Uehara asks Tendo why she's dressed up. Tendo quips it's a girl's duty to look serious, then glances at Chiaki, who's dressed simply. At their destination, a beach resort, everyone is thrilled. Amano and Aguri play in the water, but others surround them, accusing them of hogging the fun. Tendo asks Amano if he bought a new game. Amano admits he accidentally got Advanced Quest 3. Uhira asks where it is, as it's not famous, and Amano insists he must play it, or his 6 grands will be wasted. Upon hearing this, Aguri is naturally shocked and calls spending 6,000 yen on a game a brain-dead decision. Chiaki and Amano, amused, listen as Aguri argues that games are frivolous compared to clothes, which are essential. Uhira counters that everyone wastes money on things like coffee or movies. Aguri defends those as ways to interact with real people, not NPCs in games. Amano admits he loves watching Tendo play games, making her blush. Their flirting prompts others to remind them of Tendo's no flirting rule. At another location, Aguri complains they spend all their time on games. Chiaki defends games as modern entertainment, like movies. Aguri argues movies last 2 hours, while they play games all day. She even adds that if games were actually engaging, people wouldn't fall asleep playing them. She levels up while napping, calling repetitive grinding boring. Amano and Chiaki feel hurt. Aguri, confused, asks why they love games. Amano, Tendo, and Chiaki exchange looks, silently urging her to understand. Once everyone has inspected their lodging, everyone is amazed at how luxurious it is. Chiaki then pulls out a gaming console and suggests they should all play together. Amano and Chiaki are thrilled, but Aguri grumbles that they traveled so far just to play student video games. During dinner, Aguri checks game prices on her phone, shocked that one costs 6,000 yen and another 10,000. She asks Uhirata what DLC means. He explains that it is short form for downloadable content, often cosmetic like character outfits. Chiaki and Aguri dismiss clothing DLC, but Uhirata and Amano admit they'd buy it for female characters. Aguri calls spending on virtual clothes foolish, but Amano asks if she'd buy a dress Uhirata loves. She agrees she would, and Amano explains that's how DLC works. Everyone nods, but Aguri references a cereal box prize, confusing them. Aguri insists games waste time and money, but Amano defends gaming as a serious hobby. Aguri asks what DLC they'd buy, and Ueras repeats clothing DLC, while Tendo mentions extra hard DLC. She explains difficulty adds fun, and that she likes to enjoy some pain in every activity that she does. Aguri, baffled, asks Chiaki, who wants post-game DLC to keep stories engaging, like a new chapter where characters become catfish. Aguri, intrigued, questions how catfish survive in water, calling it a disaster. Konoha Hoshinomori, eavesdropping, tries to overhear Masumi, but hears nothing. Later, Amano sits on a massage chair with the group. Aguri jokingly says she'd buy 2010's Monkey Glasses DLC, prompting playful teasing that scares Masumi. Amano and Uehara set up their beds, but Tendo places hers next to Amano's. Chiaki and Amano pull it out, and Aguri tries to place hers beside Uehara's. Tendo declares no one sleeps near Amano if she can't. Playing games on the console, Chiaki wishes for a happy long-time DLC with a joyful ending. Tendo calls Amano a complicated person. Aguri, reading a magazine, admits she still doesn't understand gaming's appeal, as games feel like endless challenges. Everyone grows somber. Aguri, apologetic, didn't mean to upset them. Amano says they're used to it, recalling Tendo's comment about finding joy in pain. Uhira adds that as long as they can game, they're content. Tendo, flustered, stammers about not having a girlfriend. Aguri asks how they know which games are good. Amano shares that years ago his father gifted him a Christmas game no one liked. He was initially disappointed but grew to love it after playing, as games let you control actions and gain unique story experiences. Uhira agrees, and Chiaki is touched. Amano vows never to sell that game, as it meant something to him. Aguri, understanding, says it's not about being a gamer from childhood but the experiences games offer. Amano, smiling, confirms she's finally grasped it. Tendo and Uhira exchange proud glances, while Amano and Chiaki smile at each other. Misumi, who is still standing, offers to play Enter Enter. but everyone falls asleep. This makes Amano lament that he is being left alone once more. Comment down below Gamer Boss if you watch till the end. Subscribe so you don't miss the next video.